Shericka Jackson and Lavania Williams running well. Neil Smith's coming forward. It is Tina Clayton and Shericka Jackson.
Shericka Jackson walked into the National Stadium with everything to lose. She hadn't run a single 100-meter race all season. The woman across the track had already beaten her on this exact spot a year earlier. Nobody knew if she still had it. Then the gun fired, and one runner looked like she was about to run away with the whole thing. So how did this actually end? Let's back up first, because you need the full picture before the race even starts to make sense. Tina Clayton walked in as the defending champion. She's only 21, and a year earlier she beat Jackson for this exact title, clocking 10.81 seconds to do it. That win put her name on the map as one of the brightest young sprinters in the world. She came into this season with a season's best already banked, looking like the future of Jamaican sprinting, not just a challenger trying to prove something. Now add this on top. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the woman who ran Jamaican sprinting for almost 2 decades, had just retired. That left a real gap at the top of the sport in Jamaica, one that everybody in the stadium that night understood, even if nobody said it out loud. Somebody had to fill it. Was that going to be Clayton, the rising star who already had the title and the form to defend it? Or could Jackson, a 5-time Olympic medalist who hadn't lined up in this event all year, walk back in cold and simply take it? Nobody in that stadium knew the answer. Jackson had spent her entire season focused elsewhere, which meant nobody, not even her own coaches, really knew how her top speed would hold up under actual race pressure. Clayton had no such question mark hanging over her. She'd been racing and winning all season long, building confidence with every start. On paper, this looked like her title to defend, not Jackson's title to take back. If you'd asked most people in Kingston that afternoon who was walking away with the win, the answer would not have been close. And what happened next caught almost everyone off guard. When the gun fired, Clayton exploded out of the blocks. Her start was sharp and violent, the kind that makes a crowd go quiet because they think they already know how this ends. She got out ahead early, running with the same confidence that won her the title a year before. For the first 40 or 50 meters, this looked like her race, full stop. You could see it in the way she carried herself, shoulders relaxed, stride locked in, like she'd already done this before and knew exactly how it played out. Jackson was slow off the blocks, not disastrous, but noticeably behind, the kind of gap that makes commentators start second-guessing a comeback before it even happens. If you were sitting in that stadium, this is the exact moment you'd start wondering if her long break from the 100 had actually cost her something real. Reaction time and that first burst of acceleration are usually the first things to go rusty when a sprinter skips a distance for a full season, and it looked like that was exactly what was happening in real time. She was chasing from behind, and Clayton wasn't giving up an inch of the ground she'd claimed. Then something changed. Somewhere past the halfway mark, Jackson's stride opened up. This is where her real weapon shows up, the part of her race that has always separated her from almost everyone else in the field. She has elite top-end speed, the kind that only matters late in a race, once everyone else is just trying to hold their form long enough to reach the line. While Clayton held steady, running the same race she'd trained for all year, Jackson accelerated like the second half was where she actually lived, where she'd always belonged. The gap that looked settled at 40 meters was gone by 70. With 20 meters left, they were running stride for stride, dead even, and you could feel the entire stadium shift with them, the noise building with every step. They hit the line together. It took a second for anyone, even the athletes themselves, to know who actually got there first. Jackson crossed in 10.81 seconds. Clayton followed in 10.85. Jonielle Smith took third in a personal best 10.94, which means all 3 women dipped under 11 seconds in the very same final. Behind them, the race for fourth was so tight that officials needed a photo finish just to separate the runners. That's how stacked the entire field was that night. That kind of depth in one race is rare, even by Jamaica's standards, and it says a lot about where women's sprinting in this country stands right now. This wasn't one dominant runner and a gap behind her. This was a field fighting for every single inch, front to back. But here's the detail that turns this from a good race into something else entirely. Jackson's winning time, 10.81, is the exact same number Clayton used to beat her a year ago on this very track. She didn't just win. She matched the time that once beat her and used that same number to take the title back, almost like the sport was daring her to do it the hard way. It was also her fastest 100-meter time since 2023, run in her very first attempt at the distance all season. Sit with that for a second. No warm-up races at this distance. No smaller meets to shake off the rust beforehand. She stepped onto the track cold, in the biggest race of her year, against the exact woman who beat her last time, and still walked away with her best 100-meter time in 3 seasons. So what does this actually change going forward? For Jamaica, it reopens a conversation that a lot of people thought was already settled. With Shericka Price gone, plenty had assumed Clayton was the clear next face of the program, the one who'd carry the torch for the next decade. This result says otherwise, at least for now. Jackson just claimed her first national 100-meter title since the Paris Olympics, and she did it by chasing down the defending champion and catching her right at the line in front of a home crowd that came expecting a coronation for someone else entirely. That doesn't mean Clayton is fading. Not even close. She still ran a time that wins most national championships around the world, and she's only 21, so realistically her best years are still ahead of her. If anything, a loss like this might sharpen her rather than shake her confidence. What this race actually did was create a real rivalry, the kind Jamaican sprinting has been missing since Shericka Price walked away from the sport. 2 women, 1 track, and now a genuine, open question about who's actually faster heading into the biggest meets left on the calendar this year. That question reaches past Jamaica, too. Jackson is a 5-time Olympic medalist and a former world 200-meter champion, someone who has already proven she can compete with anyone on the planet over these distances. A run like this, coming off 0 100-meter races all season, and a rough start she had to fight through just to get level, says something bigger about where she's at right now. If she can run 10.81 with no tune-up races and a slow start built into the middle of it, what does she look like with a full season of racing behind her by the time the bigger championships roll around? There's also a bigger event sitting right on the horizon. The Commonwealth Games are coming up this summer, and results like this one carry real weight when selectors are putting together a roster. A win over the reigning champion, on home soil with the fastest time of her season, is exactly the kind of form a team wants heading into a major championship. It puts Jackson right back in the center of the conversation, not as a name from the past trying to hang on, but as someone genuinely peaking at the right moment. That's the version of Jackson that could show up chasing the fastest women in the world again, the same way she just chased down Clayton in Kingston, so back to where we started. Could Jackson really do it? Could she walk into a race she hadn't touched all season, against a champion who beat her on this exact same track 12 months earlier and simply take it back? She did. She turned a slow start into the exact same time that once beat her and used it to remind everyone who the fastest woman in Jamaica actually is right now. The crown is back with Shericka Jackson, and after a race like that, the rest of the world should probably be watching too.